Big deal.
Big deal.
Hello, and welcome to Husky Talk-SNS. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I would like to introduce you to former UConn star, Captain Sean Mulchay. Sean, it's great to see you.
How we doing?
Oh, just spectacular. It's just been a week of delightful surprises. Not really surprises,
Yeah, we
but
saw this coming.
a week of panic and everyone scrambling, and it's kind of crazy. It's interesting to hear that Coach Mora is coming back to UConn tomorrow to address the team, because apparently he has heard about kids wanting to go into the transfer portal, wanting to give up on the season, not knowing for sure what's going to happen with going into a bowl game. And, he's trying, I give him credit for trying to steady the ship. But we kind of knew this was going to happen, and it should not have been a surprise.
The only surprise is the school.
Yeah, I mean, we were surprised by Colorado State for sure. I mean, we thought he would have held out for something better.
Yeah.
With Washington at play, Cal just opened. I didn't expect him to jump at Colorado State, especially, they're going into that new Pac-12. I didn't think that it's a place where you can win at consistently. And he's in the twilight of his career. I figured he'd want one big payday before he goes, and he's definitely not going to get it there. But I've talked to UConn alums. I've been on 45 different text streams and parents and players, and regardless if Mora had left or stayed, the problems at UConn for football were not changing.
Yeah.
And that's really the attendance, that's the television revenue, and that's getting into a conference. There's no sense of urgency to get into a conference. I don't know that we're pushing as hard as we can to get into a conference, and we're not making any money off being in the Big East.
Priority is men's basketball, women's basketball, then maybe football.
Correct. But the problem is men's basketball and women's basketball do nothing financially for the university. Yeah. I think I told you the women winning the national championship last year.
Yeah.
They broke it down by conferences. There were, how much money each conference got, and it was based on how many teams got in per conference. And I think the Big East may have gotten one or two, us and somebody else. We won the national championship, and we were paid $650,000 as a conference, which we had to split between them. So, okay, we can go out and win as many national championships as we want in men's and women's basketball. The bottom line is football rules the roost, and it does by a lot. The television broadcast revenue from the SEC is billions of dollars. The Big Ten is billions of dollars. The ACC is getting up there. The Big 12 is getting up there. So to think that, okay, we're going to survive on basketball is completely unrealistic, because the Big East is a complete joke. We play a difficult out-of-conference schedule, but when we get into conference play, it actually hurts us.
Yeah.
Because we're playing worse competition. And
when did they make the announcement about the bowl invite?
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be tonight. That's what I've been.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've kind of been checking. It's It's either tonight or next Sunday after the championship games. I can't remember for sure. But yeah, I mean, we're still projected to go, but the biggest issue is if it's going to be like North Carolina when we played them last year. North Carolina went into the bowl game with a skeleton crew.
Yep.
A message from athletic director David Benedict. I'd love to see this. Yeah, North Carolina came in. They had Freddie Kitchens as the head coach. He was the only one who Belichick retained. Yeah, it's historic. Yeah, Joe Figiano ranks third nationally. Yeah, Skylar Bell set school records. Yeah. We're undefeated at home. Yeah. We know changes are inevitable. Yeah, well, the bottom line is when you're paying a coach $2.5 million a year, you're not going to get anyone to stay long term. That's just the reality of it. $2.5 million. I think he had incentives that would have gotten him up to $3 million. The average salary for, Lane Kiffin just left for LSU.
What's he making? 12?
They brought out the Brinks truck to Lane Kiffin's house, and yeah, he's making.
When will we find out what Mora's making at CSU?
That is supposed to be announced tomorrow. I believe he is supposed to have a press conference, but I believe it's within the 15 to 17 million range per year.
Really?
I think so. No, for Kiffin. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What about Mora? When did they?
Mora has not been announced. I would assume it'd be probably around 5 million to 7 million.
Yeah.
Because it's a Pac-12 and it's a group of 5.
Yeah. So the Colorado State, obviously not like a crazy program. I think he's got a great opportunity to make a little bit more money and have some vistas in his life like none in the world with the Colorado State, where that is, an Air Force Academy, Colorado Springs area, the Continental Divide. It's like beautiful. He's going to have some mansion on a cliffside looking at like a mountain range 50 miles away. No real pressure. Can get to California within 2 hours if he wants. Like that was his
place in Utah was important. I know.
Yeah, and then his wife. I'm not sure where she's from, but I'm sure they were here. What, almost 5 years?
4 years. Yeah, they didn't want to. He was out of coaching. Like we resurrected him from the dead.
Yeah.
He had been out of UCLA. I don't know where or why we brought him in, but we brought him in, and people don't realize like he benefited from playing a schedule that your son and daughter could coach and win 9 games. Like it's not like he beat anyone he wasn't supposed to beat, besides maybe the Duke game. He lost 3 games in overtime, and they were horrific. The Syracuse game he had 1, and his defensive coordinator was a nightmare. The Rice game we had 1, and defensively we were a nightmare. We gave up 700 total yards to Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic, who lost to Florida International, and we beat Florida International 61-10 or whatever. So it's not like he went on the road and was knocking teams off left and right. He beat a 1-8, 1-9 BC team that was a dumpster fire and was playing their backup quarterback.
It might have been their worst team ever.
Yeah, but I mean, they've at least played. They played Georgia Tech tough. They haven't given up on the season, and they played tough through and through. And they have some good young players, but it's the same thing. When you go into the transfer portal and you live and die by it, it's hit or miss. And
Yep.
the NCAA changed the schedule, hoping that it was going to prevent what has happened. They didn't want coaches getting fired early. Like
Yep.
there were more coaches fired in November, by November, in the history of college football. It was something crazy like
Oh,
that.
really? I didn't know that. Wow,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
quite a figure.
Yeah. It's because they changed the transfer portal. The transfer portal normally opened early December. They moved it to January. It starts January 2nd. So but they also changed, if your coach gets fired or leaves, you have 30 days to enter the transfer portal early. So UConn has 40 seniors, and they have like I can't see Mora taking or wanting many of our underclassmen at Colorado
To transfer to
yeah. I mean, Victor Rosa has already announced that he's going into the portal, and I'm sure there's others that have announced, and good for them. That's part of the game. We bring in 60 transfers a year. That's just reality. The reality is we're no closer to getting into a conference. We're no closer to generating the revenue needed. We're averaging 22,000 people a home game. Jim Mora staying here or going doesn't change that. So everyone going crazy about this, it doesn't make a difference who the coach is. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't change the fundamental problems in the program.
What you just said, like all the things you've pointed out. Yeah, all the things you've pointed out are exactly why he's taking advantage of the situation and capitalizing on his 9-3 season. So
absolutely,
it's never, he's 65. It's never going to be a better opportunity that you can guarantee. So might as well get paid and go somewhere low pressure, beautiful, and ride it out. Like, he's been in Connecticut. I'm sure he enjoyed all of Connecticut in 4+ years. There's plenty to do.
Well, for him to come back tomorrow and address the team, I think shows a lot about him, that he's willing to do that. He doesn't want.
Doesn't every coach do that? That's not a big deal.
Well, no, he already met with the team when he announced he was leaving.
Okay.
But he's coming back because I think, there were quite a few kids looking to enter the transfer portal and give up on the 9-3 season. And my thing is, if you want to transfer, great, transfer, go ahead. But whether you do it now or whether you do it within January 2nd when the portal opens, I don't think it's going to make a hill of beans a difference. I think that reality is you're going to get a chance to play, hopefully, in a bowl game against good competition, have good film, and that will help your chances of getting picked up. There's already thousands of kids in the portal right now. So that is a mess already. So, you want to enter the portal and, everyone thinks the grass is greener. It's not. And, you can look at the quarterback that ended up at UCLA, Nico, whatever his name was. He leaves Tennessee because he wants more money. He was getting paid $4 million a year there. He was getting paid out of high school, and he goes to UCLA for less money because nobody would take him. Mm-hmm. So all like Victor Rosa thinking he's going to get some, major NIL deal from somewhere. He's out of his mind to think that.
All of
And
them. They all got the delusions of grandeur.
yeah, they all do. And that's the problem with college football overall is they do have delusions of grandeur. And we talked about this on Friday. Candidates for the head coaching job. Well, I mean, you're not going to get anyone major for 2.5 million to $3 million a year. Now, allegedly, they are going to increase that and increase the budget for football and
Do you know what the
increase.
budget is for football?
I know it's under $1 million.
Okay.
I know it's under $1 million. That's why I said, the Duke quarterback was getting paid $4 million, and our quarterback wasn't getting paid close to that. Was getting paid probably $50,000 to $100,000.
Wow.
And then you have, Nick Evers, who we've paid a chunk of money for the past 2 years to stay, and we don't know if he's going to be able to take over. The only guy that's really worthy is Cam Edwards, and I wondered why Mel Brown played in that last game against FAU, because he had one game to preserve his red shirt, and if we went to a bowl game, that would count. So I am curious if he is holding it. If he, everyone kind of knew what was going on. Coaches were looking for other jobs. People were interviewing. And I wonder if Mel Brown was already planning his exit strategy, either going to the NFL or transferring. The problem is running backs are a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't see it happen. And the Pac-12, which Colorado State is going into, it's a group of 5 conference. It's not a power conference. So that's why it was also surprising. You would think that he would want to wait and see how the chips fell, as opposed to jumping at an opportunity at Colorado State if he had a chance to go to Washington, if he had a chance to go to Cal.
Yeah, it was
Florida,
a very quick decision.
Yeah, it came on Tuesday night at 12:30 a.m.
How long do you think that? I wonder how long that could have been in the works.
It was just surprising because Colorado State is not the most stable of situations. They've gone through several head coaches. I mean, they had Mike Bobo there. They had Norville there. And, Mora will be there. I can't see Mora lasting a full 5 years at Colorado State.
Yeah, no way.
With the schedule that they're playing. I mean, you gotta look at what he's done. Like, if a couple plays went wrong, like, we would have lost to Buffalo.
Yep.
We would have, if the kicker from Florida Atlantic was on point, we would have lost to them.
That's why he's capitalizing on the situation, because he got so lucky. You got to take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, I listen. He spent the majority of his time out west.
Yep.
He was in Utah every chance he could get. He did not want to be on the East Coast.
Is he Mormon?
I don't know if he's Mormon or not. I don't know, but I mean, the fact that, again, that he would fly back here to meet with the kids, to try to encourage them to stay the course, to, not give up on the season, because they could tie the record and get 10 wins.
Yeah, but I could see some players being a little cynical, being like, "Yeah, easy for you to say you're bouncing and about to get paid." Like, why should we listen to anything you say?
That's what it's a business now.
Yeah,
it's a business. That's the reality of it. We're going through what every school has gone through who has lost a coach.
Yep.
This is what it feels like. And we knew success was going to breed this. And my thing is just being realistic about the success that he had. The
Mm-hmm.
schedule that we played was disastrous.
Yeah.
We beat one team with a winning record,
Yep.
and that was Duke. Every other team we played, like losing to Delaware in overtime, was an embarrassment. Losing to Rice in overtime was an embarrassment. They were both
I mean,
awful.
you could make the argument that they should have gone undefeated.
They should have. They
I
they
know.
were they were a few plays away from being undefeated. They were a
Yeah.
few plays away from winning 5 games. That's the reality of it.
Yep.
And they want to give Joe Figiano all this credit, and he deserves it. But the reality again is Skylar Bell had over 100 receptions. The next player had 30.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you? I mean, he didn't really spread the ball around, and he targeted his guy. And I know that he's got an invite to play in the Senior Bowl, and
Good.
he's questioning whether he wants to do that or not.
Good.
So I don't know who's advising him, but I think that's absolutely insane
I
that
would
they
do
would.
it if I were him.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like, how could you even say that? "Oh, I don't know if I want to play." And then, he wants to train for the combine or for pro day with his buddies. It's like,
Okay.
yeah, I'd like to train with Alex and Skylar. I'm like, dude, this is a business. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Your agent is not going to necessarily want to sign tight end Alex Hunnick. Skylar Bell's probably going to get a top tier agent because he could be a day 1 pick or a day 2 pick.
Yep.
So it's going to be completely different. You have to understand it's a business. It's not show friends, it's show business.
Yep.
And, I give Joe all the credit in the world because he was to be replaced. Nick Evers was supposed to come in and replace him. He took every opportunity thrown his way. He made the most of it. He made plays, and he made a difference. And that is why he was the starting quarterback this year. He kind of tailed off near the end, except for the last game against FIU, where, I don't know if they put out a defense or not. But, he didn't play phenomenal against Air Force. He didn't play phenomenal against Duke, but he is a proven winner. He'll go down. They'll have a monument of him up in the Burton complex for winning 18 games. He's the only quarterback in UConn history to win back-to-back 9-win seasons. So I just hope he doesn't hold out of the bowl game. I hope Skylar Bell doesn't. I hope they finish what they started.
Yeah.
It would just be a shame to see, what we saw last year with North Carolina. North Carolina played us with a skeleton crew. They shouldn't have even accepted the bowl bid with the guys that they played because their top players held out. They weren't gonna. They were 6-6. Their coach was gone. They didn't feel the need to play in it. And, we're kind of in a similar situation because we're not going to the Citrus Bowl. We're not going to any remarkable bowl game. If we go to a bowl, it'll be like the Poinsettia Bowl or the Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte. So that is why I'm saying for him to come back, I think it's good that hopefully he can rally the troops and say, listen, we started this. I know I'm not here to finish it with you. And it's a shame that he's got to hit the road recruiting, but that's the NCAA. The early signing period is December 2nd. So he's got to scramble to keep the recruits that he can at Colorado State. And, we have to scramble to keep whoever we can. Gordon is going to be the head coach for the bowl game. I think they're going to try to name someone relatively quick. I don't know who that's going to be, but I hope they go with a younger guy who at least has a chance to stay here for, 4 years, 5 years. and then they can have a contingency plan. And then, by the time 2030 rolls around, we're not tied in to the Big East for basketball. Then hopefully a conference will take us. We were close to a deal where the Big 12 was going to take us for football until we were going to join, I think, in 2030 to give us a few years to get ready. And then for basketball to not be tied into the Big East and have everything go together. But what makes the most sense, obviously, is the ACC. For us to not join the ACC, to me, is just, all the all Big East schools are there. Louisville's there, Pitt's there, Syracuse is there, BC's there. What more? Virginia Tech, what more do you want? Benedict, the athletic director of the year, whatever he was, where is the sense of urgency to get into a conference? The only way that a conference, we are going to be desirable to a conference, is for us to put asses in the seats. We have to average over 30,000 people a home game. We have to show that we can bring in either donor revenue, we can increase our broadcast revenue. Being in the Big East is a liability, and he has to be aggressive. Maybe it takes something like SMU, who gave up 9 years of broadcast revenue just to join the ACC, and they fundraised $100 million as soon as that happened to make up for it.
Let me run. I gotta go.
So, yeah. Well, just remember, life is giving you lemons. Don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them right back at life.